Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on the road to No Way Home. Now, since the movie's coming out today here in New Zealand and a bunch of areas around the world, December 16th, I thought, why not review the last three movies I got on this list? So today, you'll be getting three videos. The review for this movie, Into the Spider-Verse. The next one will be a review for Far From Home and Venom Let There Be Carnage. Then, I will even post up on my TikTok page and a short video about what my thoughts were on the film. Okay? Make sure you guys see for that, and yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, I'm gonna be reviewing Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. So this movie is actually quite a good movie. I love it, and I think it was great that it earned its award for good animation. So yeah, and this is the first one without Peter as the main character. He's more a supporting character with Miles now taking the front seat. So let's see what this movie has in store. Let's start with the good, the animation. Like I said, the animation is just so good. It's very good animation. I believe the animation was very good. It was a very awesome animation. It felt very cool, and it felt like a comic book cover. And the directors even said if you pause it, it feels like a crisp comic book panel. So I can kind of see that in some parts, and I really liked how they gave off that feel. And even what they needed without all the deleted scenes, it still feels like it flows well. It's like Back to the Future Part 1, 2, and 3. Unlike the Amazing Spider-Man films, where it doesn't feel like this film flows well without the deleted scenes, this film, along with some other films I've noticed, flow well without the deleted scenes. Like that's what you gotta admire about old-fashioned movies back in the day, and even ones like this that still do it. Movies for back in the '80s, even if you cut a scene from the film, it still flowed well. And even for this one, it's the same thing. There's some movies don't do that nowadays, but some movies do. And if you cut it, it flows the story. Like Avengers 1 and Avengers 4, the scenes that were cut still made the movie still flowed amazingly well. So yeah, and the movie still flowed amazingly well, in my opinion. Anywho. Besides that, the story was so brilliant. It told a very unique story of just Miles going into his own. He's in a new school, and everything's new to him. He's got new spider powers. He's now entrusted with the role of Spider-Man, and he now has spider people from alternate worlds and the multiverse to deal with. And he also has to deal with Kingpin. So it's kind of a big deal, and his uncle Aaron is actually the Prowler. So it's a very shocking amount of events that really just culminate in an amazing story. And I really feel like the story is told well over the film it gets. And I was so happy that I got to watch this. So yeah, and even though it says, some people have said, or some alternate sources say it's 2019, it's actually a 2018 released film. But nonetheless, next thing is the characters. The characters in this film were very amazing. I loved all the characters in this film. They were very good. I did love the characters in the film. They were very unique takes on the characters, and like I'll even say in the next section, with unique characters. Characters and unique characters just go well together. They are so brilliantly well done. They take these characters to whole new levels. They take Peter Parker, the one that died. They take bits from their past ones, so when the Peter Parker in this world does die, spoilers, he actually does, and it feels like it hurts, because even though I've only met this Peter Parker, it feels hurtful when he dies. It is kind of odd that all Chris Pine's characters seem to die in all his movies. Steve Trevor, Captain Kirk, none of his characters are actually safe from being alive. But anywho, nonetheless, the characters and unique characters in this film are so unique. We got Miles Morales, an African American as Spider-Man. Peter B. Parker, the classic one from America. Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider, and Penny Parker, aka the anime kind of one, Spider-Man Noir, and then we also got Spider-Ham, and with more to be added, even the 2099 one, and even possibly the Japanese one, and even maybe the legendary live-action Big 3. Who knows? But nonetheless, this is awesome, and I'm very excited to see what this could pack in the film, and I thought the characters were really well done. The origin story was another thing I really thought they did well. They told the origin story for Miles in a unique way. They didn't make it pick up from where it left off with. He didn't have his powers for a few months and do nothing. He just got it and then watched Peter Parker brutally die. Well, no, he figured out how his powers worked and ran into Spider-Man, who died eventually, and he takes up the mantle. It does such a unique thing that he must now go into his own, and by the next movie, he will now have to deal with more multiversal shenanigans. Next thing is the world. The world around him is so unique and vibrant. It's a unique take on his world. It's more comedic, it's more comic book. It's more cheesy, it's more weird. It takes a more unique direction with it. So it's a very unique direction with the world. The action is explosive and amazingly well done. I really think the action was done so well. It feels like it flows. Like my head, like how I move like this. It flows so well, like a river stream. It flows really well. And as you feel it, see what I mean? It may not flow, it flows like an ocean. And this is the ocean. So in my opinion, it flows so well when it flows like that, and the action is just so amazing. The villains are incredibly the villain of Kingpin, I really think he's an amazing villain. The other villains are all meh. But I really think Kingpin's such a unique villain. He just wants to see his family, but he can't bring them back. But it's such a unique take on his character, such a unique take, and different than very different. But I always like how in the films I always keep a soft spot for his Vanessa. And yeah, and another thing is the possibility for sequels is just so amazingly how they set up sequels, spin-offs, and more possibilities, like to bring in the live action. Because yes, it was indeed true. Peter B. Parker was actually going to be played by Tobey Maguire, but they didn't feel like doing that, so they cast Jake Johnson, who was brilliantly well done. They were even going to bring in the big three live action ones, but I think that wouldn't have been warranted for. So yeah, and I think Peter B. Parker is the best take on a broken Spider-Man. Because it's not a Spider-Man that lost his leg in a fight with Green Goblin, or one that lost MJ with his magic sperm. Yes, that was an actual thing where he had his intercourse with Mary Jane caused her to die due to Peter's magic sperm. But yeah. Apparently they didn't affect her before, but for some reason that slowly killed her. But nonetheless, I just think this Peter's a way better take on the sad thing. Because, yes, Fat Thor was a bit of a joke. I can see why he's depressed, but in my opinion, he was a tiny bit of a joke. But nonetheless, I still think he did a decent job at it. But Peter just does it way better than any other depressed superhero. He does it so well. He's so jokeful, like he's half jokeful and then half serious. It was a bit, no offense, distracting with Thor that he was such a joke. And then when he was serious, it was hard for me to take him seriously. Like in the serious moments, it was a bit hard for me to take him seriously as a person. Because, well, in the more serious moments, I did end up doing that. But on the joke, most of the time I saw him as a joke, no offense in the film. But I still thought he handled the depression well. They handled that depression plotline well, and I like how he didn't get fat, because actually they were going to originally make him skinny again for the final battle, but they decided to keep, Chris Hemsworth suggested they keep him fat for the film. And yes, that was actually a fat suit. He wasn't fat. I'm not surprised he won't get diabetes, considering he is like a god, so I'm not surprised he won't get fat. But nonetheless, the next thing is, well, the way Peter Parker is. This Peter Parker is so much more unique, and like I said, I just like this take on Peter Parker. He isn't broken from his magic sperm effing. He isn't. Mary Jane doesn't die via his magic sperm. He doesn't just fall a leg off. He just gets destroyed. He just loses hope. He loses the strength to want to continue on. And the words "with great power comes great responsibility" are sick of him, because, well, why bother listening and continue to go by words that have kind of driven his life down the main hole? To keep great power and great responsibility so long, it's just ripped them apart. And the fact that he's lost his parents, Uncle Ben, likely Gwen Stacy, his Aunt May, it's just so tragic for me, in my opinion. That's so tragic in my opinion. And due to the fallout of his many battles, I'm not surprised he was getting on and he was just going into a mood. And not to mention he divorced MJ, so that was just a lot of knuckers on the nippers that kept stabbing him in the back. But I still think it was really well done the way that it was character. And another thing that's good about this movie is the parallels. The parallels between Miles and Peter is so similar. They both get bitten by a spider. Their uncles both tragically die. It's unique because one of his parents don't die. In the comics, it's his mom. In the TV show for Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, it's his dad, and his mom's still alive. In the Marvel Spider-Man Maximum Venom TV show, his dad's alive and his mom's passed away. And in the current video games, his dad dies and his mom's alive. So yeah, I find that a very unique thing, but I like how his parents just stay alive in this one, and it's just Uncle Aaron that dies, just to try and hit back home to that parallel between him and Peter Parker. And I don't really want them to kill off his parents in the future film just yet. Maybe, but not just yet. But yeah, overall, what will I give this? A 10 out of 10. 1, animation. 2, the story. 3, the characters, the unique characters, the origin story, the world building, the action, the villains, the possibility for sequels, and the great parallels, and overall just a good film. I give this a 10 out of 10. But yeah, make sure to check out the next video for Spider-Man Far From Home, released in 2019, as the road to No Way Home comes to an end. Okay guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of that future content. And I'll make sure to see you guys soon. See you guys very, very soon.